Two, one. We're live. This is the 14th episode of GuardianCast. We have special guest zee37tee here from Down Under.
All the way from Australia.
We're lacking one.
Yeah. I went to Outback last week. It's the same thing, right?
We're lacking one Huffy for now, at least. I don't know. We'll see if he tunes in or drops by a little later, but it's just going to be us three Guardians for now. So, Z, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm an Aussie, as I've been told by a lot of people. I was playing with a Norwegian guy the other night, and he's like, "You're an Aussie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Are you a fun supporter of Ozzy Osbourne?" Oh my god,
nice.
No. So yeah, I'm an Aussie guy. Live near Sydney, Australia. We live in the future, obviously. It's currently 6:10 a.m. here in the land of the jumping kangaroo. I'm a content creator. I've been a streamer for approximately 3 years now. I've streamed originally on YouTube, and now basically part-time on Twitch and Caffeine TV. So pretty much me in a nutshell. Play Destiny, play a lot of other games as well. I do like to branch out and play with my community. Most of the community play other games as well, so I do that. But Destiny is basically where it all started for me, so that's why we're here today.
Cool. Well, getting right into it. So let's start with the raid. We talked about last week the name of the raid is Spire of Stars. We talked about kind of where it is on the Leviathan, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you can see the stars. So we have a release date now. And I kind of want to get into this because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. They're launching Friday, May 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 3 days after launch, guys. And so they've made sort of a big deal about this whole light level grind and how it's going to take longer. It's going to take a month to get to max light. How is it that we're going to be raid ready in 3 days?
They don't want you to be.
Well, well, first of all, the story is going to not. They said the story is going to be a little bit shorter, and I think for
shorter
most people,
than what? Than Curse of Osiris?
It's gonna Curse of Osiris. It's gonna
be shorter than
from most reports. They're saying it's like an hour and a half.
Curse of Osiris took me 45 minutes. In total, the whole story.
Well, then it'll probably be shorter than that. Well, I don't know. It might be around the same length.
One mission.
It doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
The soft cap's 340. Getting to level is 30, I guess. Maybe, we don't know. I'm guessing 30.
Yeah.
And the 340 to 380 will be a big jump, but I don't think that will necessarily stop raid progression, because you'll want to get the raid done.
So you're assuming it's going to be at the soft cap, the raid?
No, I don't think it will. I think it'll be under
the soft cap. We're talking about 340.
Yeah. So at the moment, right, because they already said that they're going to increase power levels, right?
Yeah.
So I think what they're going to do, I don't know what they're anticipating it to actually go up to, but I would say it would probably be maybe 10 or 15 under, or maybe even 20 under the soft cap.
I mean, the soft cap is 340, and I'm already 335 now. So,
yeah, but that's
you're saying I'm already raid ready right now? I mean, that makes no sense.
I think it's gonna be 350.
Yeah,
that's my. I think the soft cap's gonna be I think it's going to say 350, recommend 360, and then when you're 380, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be 350.
Yeah.
And then the prestige will be 380.
Yeah.
That is disappointing. I don't know. I mean,
it's going to be difficult for the first week for sure.
Yeah, we'll think about it like this, right? Look at TTK when it come out. Max Light was bumped up to 385. I think they'll probably do a similar sort of style with this expansion. And then, you obviously look at Kingsfall and stuff like that, even though it's a raid and we're only talking about a raid lair. I think EXO is right on the mark. I think it's going to be 350 to get in, 360 recommended. And then when they bring out the heroic, it'll bump it up to 380. I think you're spot on the mark there, man.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, they're intended to be shorter. They're not intended to be, because this is a new raid. I mean, obviously it is a new raid. It's new raid content, but the raid layer was intended to be like a boss and some stuff. We'll probably have one boss, and we'll probably have some like other stuff to get, other ways to get loot in there, like jumping puzzles or whatever they want. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I mean, I guess that has to be the mark, because they said the progression from 370 to 380 would take about as long as 340 to 370. So that means probably about, they said it'll take a month in total if you do everything. So about 2 weeks of 370 to 380.
I'm probably going to be 360 by Friday on all three characters.
360
at least.
by Friday. 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah,
because it doesn't take very long to
get
through the story. And I mean, if you're smart about it, you can save your tokens, and there's a bunch of stuff you could do.
Yeah.
Davey says he's going to be 375 by Friday.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, I guess that's about right. I really hope you're wrong about the campaign being that short, because like that was it.
Even if it's around the same length as Curse of Osiris, I think it's okay, because as long as they tell a good story, I mean, it's all right. I don't mind a short game because it means I have to do it multiple times, and I don't like doing the same thing multiple times.
Drawing out like hours upon hours on end.
Yeah, I can tell you, Curse of Osiris was neither long nor a good story at all. So I want to see it be completely different. I mean, the trailers have looked awesome.
It's more cinematic.
Yeah. The trailers have looked great. We
have to remember, we're comparing this to the first Destiny, which didn't have any story at all other than
the Taken King.
Like, the Strikes have more story than
the Taken King had a great. Well, I mean, the Taken King had a better story than anything else we've seen out of Destiny.
That's a full-fledged like release with a planned story that they're going to tell in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time Destiny, the original Destiny, had a chance to say, no, this is the game we're trying to be.
I mean, I'm not expecting The Witcher out of this experience, but I do expect something that's like not just like a 45-minute run through the endless forest thing over and over again. That didn't really do it for me. It was pretty much a waste of time.
I was a bit disappointed about that, actually, because the way that they marketed that, they marketed it in a way it's just like, you're going to want to go back and do things differently every time. And it's kind of like, I'm just going to run straight through this.
No, in fact, when I got to the Infinite Forest the second time, when I realized that I didn't have to kill anything in there, I was out of there.
Yeah. They put so much effort into it, and it looks really amazing if you do stop and have a look around.
Mm-hmm.
But who's got time for that? You do it once and you're like, wow, cool.
Well, I mean, coming from a person who came from the PS4 over to PC, like when I think about me, because I didn't play any Curse of Osiris on the PS4, but I'm thinking, well, I made 8 characters from the PS4 between the PS4 and the PC, and to think I would do it another 3 times, I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, nope. Nope.
So I wanted to mention Vicarious Visions. They had a developer insight this week. They had a mention at the beginning of the TWAB. They mention Vicarious Visions and how closely they're working with them. And they also were in the reveal stream last week, and they had them sit next to them on the couch and everything. They keep mentioning them. It seems like they're working a lot more closely with them on the game now than just how they helped build the PC port to the game. And that seems pretty exciting because they're a really talented studio. So I wonder what kind of secrets they have up their sleeve, because they mentioned in this TWAB, hang on, here we go. They mentioned in this TWAB, they said, they did this interview and they said, before you see their contribution to the world of Destiny, creative director, blah, 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 has a message. So I'm wondering what that contribution is, if they have any surprises in store for us with development for this expansion.
Do you want to take this first, Exo? I'll be the gentleman and wait.
Vicarious Visions, that's the studio that made the PC, like the PC port, right?
Yep.
I think what they're doing is it's more of a collaboration with Bungie. I mean, I think that it's Bungie's game, and they obviously have some input, but I mean, at the end of the day, they have to think about what it's going to mean for the PS4, the Xbox, and the P. Like, I don't think PC is going to get anything.
But so they didn't just work on the for Warmind. They didn't just work on the PC side of things anymore. They actually went hand in hand and collaborated on this Warmind expansion, from what they're saying.
Right. I think the reason why that relationship kind of spurred out is because of so many errors that came along that was just PC exclusive. I mean, if you remember back in the Curse of Osiris launch, there was frame rate cap errors and things like the Colony is a perfect example of a frame rate cap. But like on Mercury, you couldn't if you had a higher frame rate than 30, you couldn't actually jump across the
lift.
Higher than 60. You couldn't jump across the public event. So
yeah, they've had frame rate issues, but I think now they're actually developing content for the game. It's not just PC compatibility kind of stuff anymore. That's what it seems like anyway.
I mean, it's a smart move by Bungie and Activision, really, because of the fact that a lot of Vicarious Visions, like in the past, like they've worked with a lot of console games as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were basically the developer for Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like the whole series. Like that was an awesome series. Like as a kid growing up, when I was skateboarding, like I loved that game. Like that was the thing. So they've got lots of I guess knowledge behind like how games should be played and how to solicit that emotional response with the audience.
Didn't they also do the remaster of Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy? That was them too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did most of the games for, I think, DS as well.
Okay.
Like the Nintendo and stuff like that. So they're very, I guess, talented team. I mean, it's just surprising that they're working so much across the board now because, as you stated, they originally worked on the PC portal only. But Vicarious Visions is actually owned by Activision as well. So people forget that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, it's a new company. It's kind of like, no, it's still Activision.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, it's within the umbrella. It's within the umbrella of Activision. Yeah. I'm surprised they're not working with Blizzard more. I mean, I know Blizzard is a separate studio and they have dedicated servers, so their problems are not Bungie's problems, but still, I'm surprised that there's not more of a relationship that's spurred out of that rather than Vicarious Visions. I would much rather see that than Vicarious Visions, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see what
you'd rather see Blizzard work with Bungie. You're saying?
Yeah. Oh, I think we all would make the game 1,000 times better.
Yeah. Except I mean, now I gotta rag on Huffy, even though he's not here. But I don't know whether we want Blizzard helping out, guys, because if we got dedicated servers in this game, it would open a whole new can of worms. All right, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. Just to touch on that as well, if we got dedicated servers, like they've still got to work a lot more on the net service before they could do dedicated servers. I don't think just putting dedicated servers in is going to fix anything, but yeah.
Well, there's still even when you have dedicated servers, there's still client side style hacks that can go in.
Exactly, 100%.
Blizzard still deals with this, where you have the client side movement is client side, so you can actually move yourself. You could, if they cared enough to.
Depends how they do it, though, right? Because if you move yourself client side, like the problem is if you're not like if you're lag switching or you're laggy, then it won't update in the game, and you'll end up stuck in place until you stop lagging. Whereas right now in a peer-to-peer setting, it's like, oh, here's the update of packets, and then all of a sudden they're over here, you know?
Yeah. Which is why you see people teleporting all over the place.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it would help with game stability, like definitely having dedicated servers. Like, it is proven that it does help. But, I mean, because it's something that Bungie hasn't even attempted before, it's going to be a massive undertaking to actually produce something on dedicated servers.
I'm gonna stand my ground and say yes, you're right, but that it's still essential at this point.
Halo was on dedicated servers.
No, Halo was
Halo 2.
Halo 5 is on dedicated servers. I don't know which one they've moved over to first, but none of the Bungie Halos were.
You're right. The information servers from Halo 2 was what they saved, and they had a huge like server room.
Yeah.
At the time, they had like in their studio for the information gathering. So.
Michael says to tackle the tick rate before tackling dedicated servers. I would just mention that, the tick rate is supposed to be 40 hertz. It rarely is because of the crappy peer-to-peer connections that we deal with.
Tackle time to kill.
But honestly, even on a on dedicated servers. Even on dedicated servers, if they left the tick rate at 40, it'd be okay. It'd be better, more consistent and stable than it is now. And for the consoles, it doesn't matter. They can only do 30 hertz anyway because they're only playing at 30 FPS.
Well, that's particularly where this vicarious visions things might open up, because if they're going to give them more freedom on the PC side of it, we might see, a competitive atmosphere
or
at
crossplay
at a 60 hertz. 60 hertz infrastructure would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, right? Like, a lot of people want the dedicated servers purely for the competitive side of the game, right? So for the story missions, playing 3 for 3, like,
peer-to-peer is fine.
Dedicated. Yeah, peer-to-peer is fine. So, like, what Bungie would be best to try and develop is to sort of segregate the PvE to the PvP, make dedicated servers purely just for the Crucible and like trials and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Six-man activities, I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it, and like they might need to do some sort of a hybrid system for six-man activities, because the raid can get really laggy, but I could see it being a problem if you have your, like if I tried to play with someone like Uzi from Australia, then dedicated servers might be tough.
You guys.
Yeah,
I got better uploads.
Yeah, right. But you're still gonna have a high ping from wherever the server would be located if there was dedicated servers for a raid like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Generally, when I play with people from the States, my ping will hover around about the 200 mark, which is pretty insane. I've got really good internet here. Like, for instance, like when I play Rocket League with some of my friends here in Australia, like my ping's 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
And 200 is just what you're registering, like, from the server. It's like if you could actually measure how long it reaches to reach another person's client, it's even worse. It's probably like 500 milliseconds. It's bad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
what DNS are you using?
Me, I'm not really using one.
Oh. So it's probably based on what your provider has already decided for you.
Yeah. I've got an individual DNS set up. I've got business internet set up at home, so I've just got the one IP and the one DNS server. So
welcome to the GuardianCast networking podcast.
Right. Well, I mean, there are faster DNSs that are especially effective for like Asia and Australia and things like that. That can greatly reduce the query speed on the DNS's end.
Yeah, well, like I'm pretty lucky here. Like I've actually got fiber, so fiber to the premises, which most Australians don't actually have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So my connections are usually pretty quick anyway. So
Yeah, I was actually watching a stream this week, somebody from Australia, and I was like, holy crap, why are you broadcasting in 720p at a 1,000 tick rate? This is really bad. Really bad looking. They were like, oh, I'm from Australia. I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Some people in Australia, man, like they're still on like ADSL2, which is, yeah, like believe it or not, like literally up until probably 2 years ago, I was still on ADSL2.
Yikes.
Like it was only, I just moved to an area that had fiber optic that was being rolled out. And literally like we're talking maybe 8 megabit download and you're lucky to get 2 upload, and that's your home internet, and you pay like $80-90 a month for it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these developer insight videos now. There was 2 of them in the TWAB. Supposedly they released another one just like about an hour ago or something. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours ago. Yeah,
3-4 hours ago. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. These 2 though, the first one focuses on exotics in the Crucible. The second one just talks about Warmind as a whole expansion. I found the second one a lot more revealing. We kind of saw everything in the first one prior to this week already. They just gave another overview of it and kind of were excited. But in this,
good, because I didn't watch that one. I watched the story one.
yeah. The Warmind one though was really good. I mean, we saw that worm god. The footage of that worm god was like, whoa, what the heck is that thing?
That is, I guess that's not to spoil anything, but that's part of this. Like, that's a strike, basically. That's just a strike.
I assumed it was the campaign boss. That's kind of the feeling I got.
The advertising for Bungie shows the strikes, the 2 different stories and the 2 different strikes that are going to be. There's 2 new strikes, and both of them have different stories. One of them is facing off against that thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
From what because I saw 3 people in there. It could be the story, but based on the story of the strike, it doesn't seem that way.
So we're getting two new strikes. Have you guys seen anything about a PS4 exclusive or anything like that? I haven't seen anything.
They
about
won't
that.
say it. Actually,
they usually advertise for it. I've seen in the past most of the time.
Well, it would be on the PlayStation blog, which I'm gonna go check right now.
Okay.
So while Exo is doing that, I'll touch on the worm god. I can just imagine when that video dropped, I can see Bife sitting there, and as soon as he sees it, he's like, "What is it?" And pulls his glasses up, puts his glasses on. He's like, "What is this?" Because everybody's gonna ask him questions because he should know. But yeah, I'm still waiting for him to make a comment on what the actual worm god is, or who the worm god is supposedly. So.
Borealis.
Dudley Borealis. Oh man, Bay.
Yeah, well, we got a worm god, so we've literally opened a whole new can of worms, guys.
So because the new there is a whole new set of armor. There's a set of armor for each guardian, and they look all right. The warlock actually looks the best in my opinion. Hunter doesn't look that great, but it's whatever. And then they get an exclusive strike.
Okay. What about a Crucible map?
Doesn't say any. Let me look and see. Crucible.
PlayStation shouldn't get an exclusive Crucible.
They already have
I
one.
wouldn't think.
There's one.
They have one right now. With Wormhaven with in the archaeology.
Yeah. I don't play PS4 much these days.
Yeah, neither do we. Actually, ever. But
well, mine's still sitting on the desk here. It's like nice and polished. It's sitting there looking at me.
So, I mean, we've touched on the story and the strikes, the grind a little bit. And the other thing that they talked about in here was they're like, you're going to be able to explore, and there's all this lore and stuff. I'm like, no. Don't oversell this, all right? We all know there's going to be like a couple scannable things that no one's going to pay attention to, and, you know, maybe Bife will make a video about or something like that. But
there's lore in the story.
Yeah, don't expect the world out of this. All right.
No Crucible maps. The strike is called the Insight Terminus, and the set of gears. The set of gear obviously doesn't necessarily. I see the images. It looks pretty cool, but the boss actually looks ridiculous. The boss is a big old scion.
A big scion. That you know, that's clever. They haven't actually taken a small version of an enemy and made it into a big version for a strike in the past, have they?
No.
No, they've never done that.
Hydras?
Not Valis Taric or Hydras or like actually every strike boss pretty much in existence. It's not like they've done that before at all.
Oh, it looks so cool. This strike,
Crota was like a giant knight, right?
Yep.
This strike looks incredible. This is like in like the Vex.
I'm being sarcastic, guys. Everybody seems to be taking me seriously. Almost every strike boss has been a stupid, bigger model of a small enemy, like
the Harpy in D1.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Warlock gear looks pretty.
Or the Vandal, the invisible Vandal at the end of the Nessus strike. You know. The big shank at the end of the strike in D1, Valis Taric.
Oh wait, no, it was just a. Never mind, it was just a close up. So I don't know who the boss is.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much it for the developer insights. That's all I wanted to talk about. So let's dig into the patch notes themselves. There's a lot of stuff we didn't see coming in here. Number one, first and foremost, we're actually getting 100 slots added to the vault instead of 50.
Well, they never actually officially said it was going to be 50. They said
did.
they were looking into 50.
Well, no, I mean it said in like the roadmap originally that it was going to be 50. They were adding 50 in this update.
Yeah, and they probably looked at it and they went, "Wait a minute, it's probably not enough to."
I think it's more likely
50.
they undersold it on purpose, and knowing that this was like their goal, and then so that people would be more excited about it. That's what they've done in the past. They've like announced, oh, it's going to be this amount, and then they've added more.
Yeah, it's definitely 100 now. The vault space is going to increase
to 300.
From 200 to 300.
Yeah, so 2 more pages. Basically.
What they would be smart to do with the vault space, right, is all your friggin' shaders and all the terrible stuff that you just keep collecting and you just don't really want like 150 watermelon shaders. Like, why not just have the vault space but only have it count for weapons and armor as opposed to all the other collectibles and shit?
Well, they're trying to do that. That's the long-term solution. They can't accomplish all that in this patch, but your emotes now, you won't.
Okay, so
you won't have a collection.
The emote wheel.
Yeah, you won't have a collection anymore. Like right now, if you go to your collections, emotes are part of the collection. They're taking that out of the collections, and now when you go to your emote wheel, you can access all of them.
All of your emotes.
Right.
Yeah.
What I would say about the emote wheel is it's a really interesting page where they make the spot for the emote wheel, because I foresee the shading interface to be the emote interface, but modified for the shaders. They also said that they're working on a system that's going to be launching in September. They have said this in the past.
Collections,
that will solve the 2 problems that people have been talking about, which is they don't like the limited factor on the shaders. They want them to be unlimited, and but they still want to be able to give them the freedom to be able to shade whatever item they want.
And ideally, you want to be able to dismantle your shaders without having to make a macro that takes like 2 hours to delete a stack.
I think the solution that they're heading towards, though, is basically once you unlock the shader, once you unlock a certain number of shaders, that you're just gonna have it.
That's fine.
I don't think
that's good.
Yeah, and I don't like you won't be able to dismantle it because it'll be like an emote. It'll be probably a collection based thing.
Yeah, something that you acquire and then you can use on whatever you want to, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, just have it cost a lot more glimmer because I'm always glimmer capped.
Yeah, and then increase the glimmer cap.
Yeah, increase the glimmer cap to 1 million.
Yep.
Then we'll start complaining about that once we start tapping that all the time too.
Instead of have everything cost like 200,000 or something.
All right, so this next part of this I want to talk about for a second because I think they're totally off the mark here. So they're trying to incentivize people to do guided games, and the way that they're trying to do that is by offering a unique aura that lasts 14 days and giving them a bright engram. And I'm like, nobody is going to do this. This is not a fix to this system. It needs to be completely revamped. Maybe it's a short-term solution that they're looking at, but nobody is going to do this.
What they need to do is they need to do a matchmaking system.
Dungeon Finder, right?
Yeah. Well, a dungeon finder or just a matchmaking system that can matchmake. There's no reason why we can't do the matchmaking system once you guys have said, hey, you guys should probably be nice to each other. The way that Blizzard handles the raid finder is you queue for the raid finder, which there is a system in World of Warcraft to accommodate for this.
And pretty much every MMO out there on the market.
Well, it's the weakest difficulty. So the first thing is what Blizzard does is they remove pretty much all the difficult aspects of it. And it's kind of laughable to even go through it in the first place, but people still do. Mm-hmm. So they queue up for it. They get a laughable version of the dungeon, and if you die or whatever, you die, and then every time you wipe, you get like a buff that increases your damage towards the boss until you kill it.
That's like a practice raid, right? Like I've heard about that.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, and that would be the kind of way that they could do, because they could add another difficulty by doing that.
They could.
But instead of just having guided games, they could have a tamed version of the raid, a super tame version.
How many, on average, how many people participate in a World of Warcraft raid? How many people do you need to do it? Like 15.
Minimum is 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah, minimum is 10.
Because I'm just thinking, honestly, I don't even know that that's necessary. I would rather just see it like a dungeon finder where you could outline like requirements, like you got to be this light level, you need a microphone, that kind of stuff.
The queue system in Bungie just integrated into the game even would be better.
Yeah. If you have people queuing in without a mic, it's just going to waste your time. Because then you have to like go back and queue again.
Well, yeah, but then they could have an icon that shows I have a mic, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing is the in-game audio bit rate has to be increased. It sucks. It's terrible.
Well, the reason why they have it that way is because both PlayStation and Xbox carry their own party chat system that is a lot better.
Yeah.
Than the
in-game chat.
The in-game chat. So there's no reason for them to. I mean, most developers aren't going to spend any money on that because PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live both take care of that for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like the whole concept behind guided games, like I thought was brilliant to start with, but you know, as you said, Reck, like the execution of it just wasn't there. I think now like dangling like a bright engram, like people don't care for bright engrams. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, yeah, like people are turned off bright engrams from what they did with the whole locking all the armor and weapons behind the loot box system that they put into the Eververse.
Yeah.
So like I think it's a little bit too little, too late. I think what
they didn't say what this aura does either, but I don't.
It'll be
just like a Nightfall aura thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I'm cool. I helped some people through a Nightfall or a raid or something cool like that. But what they need to do, right, is because like guided games for me like seemed like a really interesting thing. I haven't done it, just for the pure fact that, you know, obviously a lot of people are writing pretty nasty comments about it, saying that it's terrible. You're going to get people in here that have just got no idea what they're doing and stuff like that. So in a sense, they're trying to build like their own LFG within the game. I think that was the wrong approach that they took. Well, I think what they...
Like, other than just people being bad at it, that's fine. Like, but people can be taught. The problem is you get other barriers. You get people who don't speak English. You get people who don't have microphones. You get, people who are AFK and have no interest in doing anything. And the worst part of it is you, as a seeker, you wait like 45 minutes. Now it's got to be even longer. It's probably hours, honestly, with the player population the way it is. I'm sure there's just nobody doing it, and you have to sit in orbit.
It disincentivizes it. Right now, it's in a bad spot, not because of the aura or the bright engram. What they're trying to do is they're saying we're going to fix the problem by putting more teams out there who are looking for seekers, by giving them an incentive, but it's not giving the seeker the incentive to actually work with the team. Because what happened is, and the reason why I don't do it anymore is because I'd rather find people who actually like are able to communicate, even if they can't talk. They'll at least understand. The times that I did guided games, I kind of got the impression that it was just like they thought it was a carry. And when they think it's a carry and they don't have to do anything, and if you die you wipe, it's like
it's frustrating.
If it were World of Warcraft, I wouldn't have a problem with this system at all, because you can be carried in those games. You can die on the boss instantly and the boss can still be killed. But with this is the case, is you die and you have to be resurrected, and if you die again you have to be resurrected, and you can only die so many times before it's a team wipe. And maybe that side of the mechanics are for the game is too frustrating to have to wipe completely because of one person. But
and it's just unacceptable to wait in orbit, to have to sit in orbit for the entire queue time of an hour
that's
plus.
not right either. That's not right either.
Yeah, you should be able to like basically, go, all right, I want to do like a raid, right? I think actually originally, if you think back to when they were first teasing Destiny 2 and they were talking about it, right?
E3.
There was a
That's when they were talking about guided games. It was E3.
So they were talking about it, and the creative director was a woman. I can't remember her name. She was very intelligent the way she was going about it, and she's like, the whole concept of guided games is, if you want to do a raid, that's cool. You put yourself out there and say, look, I want to do a raid in guided games, cool. And then you continue on your own activity, and then when the team's ready, they will then send you an invite, and then you can stop the event that you're doing and go and do the raid. I didn't see that come to fruition.
I remember the exact presentation you're talking about, and I remember being floored by it at the time. And I gotta say, so that developer is lead for like the social aspect of the game.
Yes,
and I can't sugarcoat this, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, so she definitely presented it in a way that like wowed me, and I was like, oh, this is really innovative and awesome the way she presented it. But
it's going to be fantastic. Yeah,
it fell flat on its face, and I gotta say, if she was in charge of the rest of the social aspect of the game, the social aspect of Destiny sucks. You have to do all the work as the player to engage with anybody, so it needs a lot of work on the social side of things, and they have to rethink everything they're doing.
Yeah. And the one thing as well, right, is I think Rinzler's sort of touching on it a little bit here. I'll try and elaborate it a little bit. With the guided games, it was designed to be a help, right? So there's a difference between help and a carry. So you've got Lucky and Buttwipe and Grenaded Jake that used to do trials carries. That was their thing, so it's a carry. This is more of a help. So you still get people that aren't like in the top tier of playing the game or doing the raids, but you've got people that are willing to help other people out. So I think it should have been like more broadcast that, we will help you to get through this, but it's not going to be a carry. I think that's important, because people think, oh, guided games, I'm just going to get carried. This is sweet.
Or maybe in guided games, they just get rid of the mechanic that you wipe when you die.
Yeah. That's not the mechanic though, because you can res people. That's not the mechanic right now. You can res people even.
No, but I mean, like you dying and you not like wiping in 30 seconds if you don't resurrect the person who's dead.
See,
the person who's the seeker should have that disabled.
Yeah. Oh, I see. To make it a little easier for guided games specifically.
Yeah, because then it wouldn't be a problem, right? Okay. I could go with 5 people and clear a boss and not have to worry about a carry, and I wouldn't mind, because and they would be happy because they just got carried. I wouldn't care. Yeah. And I would do it way more often.
But they would have to dilute down the loot. If it's going to be easier, it can't provide the same loot.
Well, this is where the conversation comes into where maybe they should have just made a easier version of the raid.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But yeah, it's got to have a lower tier of loot.
Yeah.
And I think that the harder version of the raid, the prestige version, I'd like to see them go back to the old system where if a person wipes, they're just dead until the rest of the encounter's over. Like, you can't res them at all. I liked that better.
Yeah.
The clutch moments that you were able to pull off back then were a lot more exciting than, like, I have 30 seconds to go run to that orb, and do I have a res token? You know, I mean, that's not...
Well, prestige make hard mode. Like the original Destiny, once you die.
The thing that I'll say about it is, and I know I've heard it from a lot of other people as well, that it's too punishing of a mechanic to have one person die and then the entire team wipe because that one person died. That is way too punishing, and it doesn't incentivize you to do anything outside. So if you lose one person early on, you're like, well, wipe. You know, it's not like, well, we don't even worry about it. We got it. You know, but you don't got it.
The good thing was if you lost somebody, you know, halfway or 2/3 of the way through the encounter, you said, you know, we could step up and do 2 people's jobs. I used to love doing that. I mean, I really did.
Yeah. That's what pushes you and drives you.
It wasn't a 30-second wipe, right?
No, it wasn't a wipe at all. Like, you wouldn't have a timer go off. If you stayed alive and you finished it with 5 people, you were good, or 3 people, you know, or 2 people. I've had it happen where somebody is the last man standing and just needs to do a little bit of damage and pulls it off for the whole team. It's great.
Yeah. And it's those moments that you remember, right? And you always talk about. It's like, oh, remember this time that we're all dead and Recked come in for the clutch? Like, literally, we had half a second left.
Right, but like, you don't remember, like, you remember that time when somebody died and then you ran over and you rezzed his orb because you had a token? You know, like, no.
I
like, remember the time?
The Berserk timer in Argos is like actually smart the way that they did it because it's for in gameplay design. I'm not a big fan of Berserk timers, and I think that's an artificial mechanic. But the way that they did it in Argos is very intelligent with the way that he's trying to kill you, and you're stopping him, and he's like, well, you stopped me this time, but I'm gonna get you next time, and then you do it again, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna do, you know, and then the last time you don't have any way to stop him, and he'll kill you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on in these patch notes. We can skip over the audio stuff.
Remember that time that Reese wiped us and Exo managed to res him? Just in time.
Yep. Just in time. I pulled it off. So there's a new menu being added to the UI called Pursuits category. It sounds like a quest menu. Like, I don't know why they're not just calling it a quest menu. Always got to be fancy about it. Pursuits category. They said they're going to move the current existing exotic quests, so I guess like the On the Comms quest and stuff like that are coming out of your heavy inventory finally.
Whoa! Yes!
Going somewhere else. Yeah.
We've only been complaining since day one about that.
Yeah. So I am excited about that.
Or I guess they said menu. It's not necessarily. I don't know. Like I'd like to see where, like, if it's on the page. I don't want them to clutter up pages upon pages upon pages. I thought when it got to the Taken King and all the other ones, like, it just felt like there was way too much horizontal pages in the end of Destiny, and it wasn't.
Destiny 2 is actually worse because there's 2 different menus. It's the stupidest thing in the world. You have like your menu with your inventory, your clan, and your settings, and then you have your menu with your roster, your map, and you're like, what the heck? Like, why is there 2 menus, you know?
Yeah. Why is it showing clan in 2 different spaces?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
clans are important.
This is definitely better, though. You know, definitely better than taking up your heavy space, which only has 9 slots. And emotes too. This is the dawning
space for the ghost shells that were ghost shell quests, and then they would, you know, this will probably eventually go into that as well.
So that's really all I have to say about that. This is worth mentioning. The weekly lockouts for the raid and raid layer are going to be class-based. Guys, this whole game is designed to not let you have 3 hunters or 3 warlocks or 3 titans. Don't do it. There's no
You
reason
should
to do
probably
that.
delete them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delete them. Make one of each class. Seriously, because you are not. It's not going to help you level up. It's not going to help you do anything.
It's not going to be a benefit at all. Yeah.
No, it's not yet. Yeah, you want to make a warlock, a titan, and a hunter. Even if you don't want to play those characters, or if you don't have any intention of playing those characters, then don't make them. But don't make another warlock or another titan. Don't do that. The lockouts for the raid now, they're being even harder on you who wants to do that. They're locking the game down so that you can't play the same game over and over again. If you don't branch out, don't make another character. It's not worth it.
And it's just so that you can't like exploit the late level progression system and be the first one to level up by having multiple of the same characters. That's all.
Yeah.
We talked about it a couple weeks. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, where if you have exotic quests, do them now, because it doesn't matter. It will only be at the power level that you are. Which I think is a +5, I think, right? Or it's not going to be a +5. So it's not going to be a light level increase.
It's not over the soft cap. No, it's only going to be whatever is light level relevant for that quest. So if it's a vanilla thing, it'll only go up to the vanilla cap, basically, is what they said.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things that the people, like behaviors that people were doing in early Destiny 2 that are just basically, you probably shouldn't do that anymore. Because it's not worth your time investment.
Yeah, because there was people that had like 3 hunters and they were doing the raid and getting all the loot for their hunter, like on all 3 characters. Like, that doesn't seem fair. But if you think about it, in Destiny 1, they still did the same thing, but you just didn't like get like any
there was no lockouts. There was no lockouts.
Yeah,
people
could
exploit it.
Yeah.
And get the same and get the rewards over and over again.
Yeah. Like I think what it should do is it should look more on the account base. So if you run through the raid, like say if you got 3 hunters or 3 warlocks or 3 titans, if you run through the raid, right, on one character, it gives you like the potential roll wheel to get the higher the loot for that activity, right? And then I think what it should do is if you've got the same character, it should still give you loot for that second character, but it should just be like, all right, cool. So you've already run the prestige once on one character as your hunter this week. We see that you've got 2 hunters. For your second hunter, we're just going to give you loot, but it's just going to be base level, like at 340 or something. Or what, 300, 320 or
well, you already have
so it throttles it down.
I think you get tokens.
The system is harsher than that, even. Where they don't give you any loot for it.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, honestly, that just applies to the raid. If you have 3 characters and you do the milestones, you won't get higher level loot, but you'll still get the engrams. I don't know. Like it's not worth doing. Don't do it.
You want trials to be class-based lockout system as well?
I think it already is. Well, as far as light level, it already is. It's just
no, but I mean, like, so, you
can't get more loot. You're saying?
Yeah, you can right now.
Right, but you want it to be where you can't get more loot. I don't really care.
Where would the line be? Like that requires like they've already said the raid is a challenging thing, and because you're doing this challenging thing, you get loot for it. But now it's a class-based system. Would trials also be?
I don't really care one way or another whether they get loot. I think the only reason people are really playing the same character 3 times a week is so that they can go flawless and have their counter go up to say I went flawless X amount of times. And if that's what is important to them, let them have it. I don't care.
Yeah, well, that's an emblem,
but then
right?
they would. Then wouldn't they just do it on like I don't know. Like I guess you're right. If you get 3 hunters, then you're going flawless X number of times because you want to see that counter grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I get it. Like if you've got 3 hunters, like I don't think they should like cut you off if you go flawless on one character and then you're like, cool, I'm just going to change to my other hunter and go flawless again. Like with trials, like it's I guess it is like the raid. Like you can only get that top tier loot like once per reset, right? So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's kind of a weird sort of thing when you think about it now. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess this is the final nail in the coffin, but I'm sort of curious to myself. And so Davey's kind of curious. He's saying, why would anybody do that? It's exactly like at this point in the game, why would anybody have 3 of one class on? I guess Huffy's more because I know he has 3 hunters on his.
It's literally
his
just
account.
that's what they feel comfortable with in PvP, so they want that counter to go up as high as possible. That's the only reason to do it. If that's what's important to you, go ahead and do that. I wouldn't recommend it for most people, and I won't be doing that for sure.
Yes, friends.
Yeah, because you have like PvE and PvP content that you want to do. So
right.
It doesn't. I mean, I don't know.
But there is some people whose stats are more important than anything else in the game, and that's the kind of person you're going to see doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so then why wouldn't you have weekly lockouts be for trials as well?
Yeah,
because like I don't have a problem with those people getting the stats they want. You know,
no,
like,
I'm talking about because you on Friday you'll be able to boost your gear with 3
just in
3
trials,
flawless.
just in trials though.
Just in trials, yeah.
Is that really that much of an advantage? You're going to give up every other activity in the game just to do trials 3 times.
It won't be that big of a deal, but I guarantee you it'll be, you know, with a gear at a higher level than what you have right now.
I don't know that it's going to affect power level that way. They may be able to get the new gear to drop, but I think it may cap their power level just like the other milestones do and not give them more rewards.
Right? If you think about it at the moment, right, everybody's pretty much max white level, right? So it doesn't really matter if you've got 3 of the one characters running the raid because you're already max white level. You're just like, I want to get this cool armor piece that I haven't got.
But
yet.
we're
That's
trying.
fine.
The whole point of this is to prevent people from getting to the
ramping
new cap
up really quick. Yeah, because that's what it is. So they're just putting it in place. Like, I would like to think that it's going to be temporary. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a good short-term solution to try and stop people from throttling up like their light levels really high, really fast for the raid, to make it sort of fair for everyone.
Right.
But I would like to see them sort of just take a step back, like after maybe a month or 2, and just be like, you know what, like we're gonna lift this because, you know, now we want people that just play on one character to have the ability to level up just like everybody else, sort of thing. So. I mean, it's a good short-term solution. But long-term,
let's move
like
on.
limiting the class.
I think we've probably harped on this enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the exotic reworks. What do you guys think of the 3 new weapons?
Risk Runner, I didn't see any big difference from, but maybe in somebody else's hands it might be different. Sweet Business looks dumb. Darcy, I'm really excited for. But like Sweet Business just looks stupid. They didn't even have the auto reload. They said auto reload brought to you by the transversive steps.
Yeah.
Well,
or by a barricade, basically.
Yeah, but
it's
I'm just picturing this,
all right,
right?
So
you load in.
I'm just gonna do a quick like overview for anybody who hasn't seen the videos. So Risk Runner, it already had the perk, but they made it better where you absorb incoming arc damage and it does a lot less to you while you have the Risk Runner out. And then you're going to, the big difference now is when you shoot somebody with it while you have the Arc Conductor perk active, it'll chain to other people, similar to how the Zalo Supercell used to do it.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. It's going to be niche. It's not going to be like OP or anything like that, but it is nice if it's a gun you already like. I agree with Exo. The Sweet Business, it seems lazy to me. All they did was make the reserve ammo more. They increased it to 999, I'm guessing because that's probably the most that their UI allows for. I really think that's the only thing. So that's all they did. They did nothing else to buff it at all. And finally, the Darcy is the most exciting one for sure. You get 4 times extra damage once it locks on in the scope.
Up to 4 times.
Yes. It just says 4 times.
So it will continue to ramp up to 4x. There's a thing. There's the multiplayer. What they showed got as high as I think 3.75. They already went over the numbers, but you know somebody crunched the numbers and they said that it went. it eventually went up to 4x.
So, okay, I watched the video, and like the first shot looked like it was less, and then I thought that it ramped up like right after that, but...
Yeah, it did. And it's what, a 7-round magazine, and it's got triple tap on it by the looks of it, so you can just literally just keep firing until you run out of bullets.
Pretty much.
Kind of like Sleeper, not Sleeper.
I think in this video, he's standing in front of a barricade, so he's got unlimited ammo anyway, and just goes through the whole thing.
It could be that, potentially. But yeah, with the Sweet Business, man, like, I can imagine Trials being like a scene from like Terminator or something. You just like load in and there's 4 Titans standing there just walking around the corner with Sweet Business just
I don't think so. I don't think you'll see that.
It's going to be chaos.
I don't think anybody's going to be playing Trials anyway because Ranked will be better, but we'll see.
I have that same kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I have the same kind of feeling 100%. where I don't think people are going to be doing
Trials as much.
Trials,
yeah, there's no reason until they make it different from the game mode and stuff. I want to talk about this Darcy most of all, though. Like, so the 4x buff, I want to know how long it takes to apply. I couldn't figure it out from the video, and I want to know, in PvP, are people just going to be running around with a low impact sniper body shotting people and killing them in the Crucible?
Yes.
Yep.
That's going to happen, but you're also going to have the people who are doing high impact and then, switching to their hand cannon and killing.
But that's fine. That's 2 shots, and it takes forever to switch weapons. This is a low impact, fast firing sniper that's going to one-shot body shot.
Yeah, I think they'll have to toggle it a little bit for Crucible. I think they will eventually tweak it. But
I don't know how long the lock-on takes. How long do you have to hard scope them? That's an important factor in this,
True. But the thing
what's interesting about the Darcy is that you don't see him in a transversus step rift. You don't see him moving, and you don't see him inside of a thing. So I think what's actually happening is weirdly, like it's going back up to 7 every single time.
Yeah,
that's why I said, is he in front of a barricade that he's crouching?
No, he's not,
because he's not going up and down, right? He's just locked on and just shooting, bang, bang, bang.
Well, and
you watch where the reticle drops as well.
The barricade would be a buff that you'd be able to see. Unstable energy boost and detain. Well, he's unstable energy boost, empowering rift and practice makes perfect.
Oh, empowering rift. Perfect. Yeah, and he's not moving for the transversus.
But he's not moving.
at
all.
Yeah.
So
that's why I thought like a triple tap sort of thing. So once it's locked on, you hit 3 bullets, it reloads, kind of like what the spindle used to in D1, right? Similar sort of thing. But like you watched a reticle, like when he's firing, like even the reticle like drops way off to the left-hand side of the head or the headshot, and he still pulls the trigger and it still hooks that bullet, which is pretty insane. So,
he's on Gunslinger, and he has the stability buff on. I
mean, it goes from 36 to 56, and then every single time it locks on, he goes, there's up to, right. That's what they were saying. Davey's saying that was a 3x multiplier, not a 4x multiplier. But it said what it said.
They're not clear about that in this description. They just say this sniper rifle now grants 4 times damage once locked onto a target.
Typo. Yeah.
Like they should have said up to 4 times, and they should have said like progressively. Well, I don't know why they feel the need to hide those details.
Is what it was doing.
Yeah.
Well, in the brackets it says exact scaling depends on the activity, difficulty, light level, delta, etc. What's light level delta?
Light level delta is the decrease of so if you're doing a harder difficulty, weirdly enough, you will be doing more damage to the boss, but you're basically doing damage in percentages.
Right. And they have to account for burns and modifiers and stuff like that. So that's all they're saying there. Yeah. That doesn't mean anything about the scaling up like that.
The highest that we saw, according to the people who've crunched the numbers, was a 3.75 increase.
And that was going through like the full clip of ammo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would have to sit there and not fire to actually hit the 4x, basically. You'd have to wait to fire until it charged up all the way.
What you don't want to do.
Right.
There we go. Harley just said from what he's done, it takes 3 seconds to lock on. That's a long time for a sniper, like, if you don't have a clean shot. Because, I mean, like, I watch you play Recked, and, you know, you can quick drag scope, and, you know, they're dead within, like, a second and a half.
It's,
like,
I mean, sometimes it's milliseseconds. There's no way I could
you imagine peeking
somebody.
a corner, hard scoping for 3 seconds?
Yeah, you might as well fire at them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a body shot would probably kill them at that point.
Yeah.
And should. Because if someone's going to stand there and be like, I wonder who's... Oh, that's a bright light down there.
Yeah, but...
A bright light. Oh, I'm dead.
What I don't like, though, is... It's not so in PvPs, the 3 second thing. Say that you're a really bad sniper, you miss like the first 3 shots out of 7, and then you luckily hit the 4th shot and then body shot one shots them. I mean, that's just stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll probably need tweaking in the Crucible.
It rewards bad play, basically, which is not great.
Well, it'll be the snipe. Well, but think about it, right? It's an exotic. So what does the Legend of Acreus do for shotgun users?
Yeah, well, exactly. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Legend of Acreus, the Legend of Acreus. I mean, you're not going to hear me defend it because it is a really strong. It is a really strong shotgun, but at the same time, you do have to at least close the gap. I don't want to see it be like this thing where it's like a crutch, where it's like, oh, it gives you more aim assist so that like your follow-up shots will land in the body and kill them instantly. That just seems weird to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
According to Gigs, the Lion Rampants are getting an air accuracy boost, as well as already being the strongest exotics for Titans. So
yeah, I don't really have much else to say about the other 2 exotics, though. I did want to spend more time on that, but you guys think you'll try out Risk Runner or this? I
mean, I will. Like the Risk Runner.
Yeah, I'll try Risk Runner. Is good.
The Risk Runner perk was already in PvE, but they're basically saying, well, we just turned it on for PvP and
see how it goes.
Right.
Create new interactions. Create new weapons that people are going to use.
Yeah, people are just going to be clumped up with their Rat Kings trying to take me out with my Risk Runner, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Sweet business, PvE. That's kind of what they buffed it for there, for PvP.
It's stupid, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the new Heroic Strikes. We'll start with Heroic Strikes, then we'll talk about the legendary challenge
This is
cards.
the most exciting part about the entire thing for me, because I was reading through it and I was like, well, this is all kind of like what we've seen. I've already seen these before.
Yep. And okay, so they're increasing the difficulty, number 1, of Heroic Strikes.
Which is stupid. I don't care. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do Heroic Strike. Well, Heroic Strikes. Okay, so Heroic Strikes. All right, so because the reason why they're doing that is because
no one does them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they're adding a weekly burn and modifiers.
They tried to
daily
add
modifiers.
The heroic patrols or whatever it was on Mercury. Nobody did those. Nobody does those.
Yeah.
No. So that's why they want to be like, oh, push their Heroic Strikes.
So in Destiny 1, if you remember, the weekly Heroic Strike playlist, it didn't have great loot, but people did actually do it because it felt fresh. They had rotating modifiers and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be largely the same now. It's going to be harder. They're going to have the weekly elemental burn, and then on a daily basis, they'll be rotating one advantage and one disadvantage that you go through. So it'll make for interesting combinations of stuff.
Aren't they disadvantages though?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is where the interesting bit comes in there, because momentum is a disadvantage, classified as a disadvantage, and
that's not one of the ones that are listed though. They list 4 disadvantages, and they're all
right. Yeah.
So glass is one of them. Players and health shields are half, but recharge rates are doubled. So that should make things interesting.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know that that's a disadvantage as much as it's just a different style of play. I think I could get used to that.
This is the way I think of it, right? They've halved everything but doubled the healing rate. So it's kind of like just not even taking it away in the first place, right?
Now, the disadvantages need to apply unique multipliers to the score, without a doubt. There's no reason that these need to apply this same amount, because that is not that bad. When you look at Blackout, though, this reminds me of the old, what was the modifier in Destiny 1? Light Switch, where so they're going to disable your radar, and the enemies are going to do 20 times melee damage. It's pretty much going to one-shot you, most things probably. I can't imagine there being something that doesn't one-shot you, even a Thrall or something like that.
It's hard to imagine. They'll probably all one-shot you. Everything will.
Right. Yeah. So and that'll be an interesting mechanic right there.
Iron.
Don't
rush in.
Iron is a pretty bad disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah. So enemies no longer stagger. Health pool is increased by 50%. God, I hope that the boss's health pool isn't increased by 50%. That would just be stupid. It'd take forever.
It probably would be.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of the strikes, though, are based on percentage of the boss's health. So you'll just be fighting the boss for longer in his particular phase before it switches to phases.
And finally, players take 5x damage while airborne for grounded. That's an old one.
Which isn't huge. So, like, Blackout and Iron are obviously harder.
Yeah.
You know, a bigger deal.
This is something that's annoying, though. I've played with this modifier in Destiny 1 before, and you jump, and then you're like, fuck, I forgot about that. It's very annoying. You know, it'll get you killed. Or
you're, I don't know, a tether hunter.
Yeah, exactly. When you're already vulnerable for like 1,000,000 years trying to fire that, you know. But,
I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
My super didn't get off, and I'm dead. Or it went off, and then I died immediately. Didn't get my super back with the Orpheus.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to see how some of this stuff plays out. I don't know, did they say anything about adding scores to the heroic strikes themselves?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
So like, what is the point of these advantages and disadvantages? I guess just to mix up
more
gameplay.
loot.
No, I think it's just to mix up gameplay.
Right. Well, okay. So this is the PvP. The Go Fast update was the groundwork for this update, right? So this is probably the groundwork for the September update, which will actually add loot inside of heroic strikes.
Yes,
I guess so.
I reckon they're
so
starting
right now we don't want to do them, but at least they're more fun to do them, and there's no real point to do them. Whereas, you know, the Nightfalls are really coming into their own with this. Even though they said there's going to be Nightfall specific loot 2.0 system, is going to be even better in September.
Okay.
What might be cool too is if they add in, like, you know, your weekly activities that you do, right? So it'd be like similar to Crucible now. It's like you do 2 quick play and you do 2 competitive, and then you complete that task for the week. Maybe they might do something similar and introduce, you do 2 regular strikes and 2 heroic strikes to sort of introduce people to go back and do some strikes, right?
Oh, you know what you need to do it for your milestone. You got to do 3 strikes a week to get the milestone.
You do, and for the first couple of weeks, everyone will be doing every single milestone they can.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I think it's a brilliant idea. Like, maybe they could mix it up and say, you know, you must do 2 regular.
I don't know if I'd say brilliant.
Strikes and 1 heroic.
It's something.
Oh, well.
it's better.
It's an incentive. It's an incentive that doesn't lose base. But what happens when you hit gear cap? That's what they need to think about.
Yep.
And that's where that's where the September update comes into what do we do when we're gear capped?
Well, and that's my biggest criticism is endgame. You know, it's been the biggest problem with this game. It continues to be the biggest problem with this game. And like I said in the beginning about the raid being 3 days after, it really tells me it's going to continue to be a problem, because there's not going to be a reason to be max level still. It'll be harder to get max level, but I don't think it'll be necessary for almost anything except maybe Isolation Protocol. You know, which is a shame. That's not how it should be. There should be a lot to do after you hit max light.
Yeah.
Well, they're still struggling with and I think September is really the circle point there, to where if raids still feel like, you know, power level doesn't matter, then the game has a serious problem. Well, that's 1 year away from the first release. So 1 year, and that's all the time they have to figure it out, pretty much. Because if they don't have it figured out at that point, then the game is fundamentally broken.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the new Legendary Nightfall Challenge cards. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that's super weird about this. Players will now be able to take their rare challenge card to Xur and upgrade it to Legendary. Why is Xur handling this?
They want to get people to go to Xur. Maybe people have deserted him.
The reason why is because Xur actually is an agent of the Nine, and it has to do with the power of the Nine.
Do you think this will be part of a quest, or literally just an exchange of like materials to do this, like legendary shards, and then you get a legendary challenge card? It's gonna be dumb.
I think like it'll just be like, oh, upgrade your rare challenge card to a legendary. It'll cost you 100 legendary shards.
Yeah, they might as well just give it to you. There's no point. Stupid. They might as well
take
just
your Darcy off you.
Yeah, they might as well just change the challenge card. Number 2, I made this criticism the first time. Why is a ghost in the tooltip? I don't know what this is. Like, they just like have a placeholder graphic here of a ghost, but it's not a ghost. I guess they didn't feel like animating something.
Yeah, they're just using the ghost menu.
Yep.
But it's because the ghost activates the challenge.
I guess. It's weird.
Nailed it.
All right. So
I figured out the lore perspective behind it.
That being said, this is going to be incredibly similar to what we just talked about with the heroic stuff. It's going to add
better.
basically, but better. So it's going to add more. You're still going to get 1 burn. You're going to get 1 advantage or disadvantage in 1 slot, and then you're going to get 2 additional disadvantage choices.
This is where, for me, I think it confirms that each of these things will have a distinct multiplier.
Yes.
Because the power scores is getting an update.
Yep.
And each of these probably will have a multiplier assigned to them.
Yeah.
Extinguish is still a disadvantage that you can pick, but it's not the only disadvantage that you can pick.
Yep. Let me say, famine sounds really stupid. Ammo drops reduced by 50%. Why? That is not interesting gameplay. That is just dumb. We already have an ammo economy problem in this game. Let me tell you, I tried soloing the Nightfall the past couple weeks, and the number 1 problem I ran into is getting to the boss, not having heavy ammo, and just emptying all of my ammo into them, and then waiting for the stupid thing to give me back ammo. Because you're just sitting behind cover, firing a scout rifle until your eyes bleed. This is a dumb, dumb thing. I don't understand. It's not difficult. It's
Nobody's gonna select that one.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Is all it is.
No, and well, I think what might end up happening is that might have like, that might be like, yeah, no one really picks famine. We don't know what we were thinking.
It's like, tried it once, not again. Nope.
But match game looks interesting. But I don't think people are going to pick that just because unless it has a high multiplier, it's going to be very challenging to do in a prestige Nightfall.
Yep.
Hard light, just saying.
Oh yeah, hard light. You're right. Because now it
the Borealis perk.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can reload and change your archetype on the fly.
That makes sense.
You don't want to stack that with famine though, because then you'll be reloading, wasting all that ammo.
I think most people, regardless of the multiplier, are going to increase the multiplier by the difficulty, because from what it looks like, we're still able to increase the handicap.
Yeah.
So I think most people will be increasing the handicap that way, and then just going with the disadvantages that they want.
Yep.
Which is, heavyweight looks like the best advantage that you could possibly ever dream of taking, tripling the ammo power drop rate and doubling the power weapon damage, which is crazy. And the disadvantages probably momentum and
match game.
Maybe match game. Maybe it's gonna be difficult. Maybe extinguish. Honestly, I mean, extinguish is pretty hard on people though. If you wipe, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. So attrition will make your health regenerate really slow, and then you get health orbs.
Momentum is not a disadvantage.
No.
Yeah, momentum's just weird because you like get behind cover and you're like, why isn't it? Oh yeah, I have to run.
Yeah, but if you do momentum and attrition, oh my god.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably very synergistic.
So not only are you getting it while you're moving, but you're also anything you kill drops a health orb.
Yeah.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good. So, like you said, they are increasing the par levels. It's now going to be bottom tier 30K, then 60K, 110K, 200K. So these are going to probably stack. You'll probably be able to get, above 3x easily now and stuff like that. So
I'm thinking the 100K before is close to 200K now. Just because of like every one of these are probably going to increase the multiplier by a little bit, and then the handicap is gonna ultimately be the deciding factor.
So the thing that they didn't mention is, did they fix the lost sector thing?
Yeah, they already said that was.
They said it would be fixed by May.
In past updates, they
Right.
said we are working on a fix for it, and obviously
It'll be with May, but now they're not saying anything about it. I'm worried.
yeah, just like mods, just like
Bad example. Mods
no,
2.0
I was
got
gonna say
pushed
mods
out.
not mods 2.0, but what was the one thing that they have talked about enough, and then they talked it to death, and then they just said
I don't know.
it was something we mentioned last week. They were like, are they still working on it, or is it still in the process of I don't know, but
the Prestige
but for
Eater
the most part,
Worlds,
I think-
Prestige Eater Worlds off the roadmap.
No, I think for the most part, I think this just means that
We talked it
all
to
means
death. We
for
just
me-
took it off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they just
fine.
talked it to death, and they're still working on it. It's still on the thing, but
It better be fixed May 8th then. If they didn't say
I think
here's
what
anything.
they're
what
going to
they're
do is
doing,
they're
right?
just going to lock.
They're going to move the current Leviathan, like Prestige, and they're going to be like, yep, this is the actual easy mode. And then they're going to make a really, really hard one. And then they're going to be like, good luck, guys. That's what they're going to do. Well, they'll have the 3 tiers. Remember in D1, they had the 3 tiers, right? So they had normal mode, hard, and then heroic, right?
I'm
What's to
confused.
say that with raid activities and stuff, because you're talking about like hard mode raid and stuff like that.
No, we're talking about in the Nightfall that people exploit
the Nightfall, right.
people exploit the scores right now by going in the lost sector and just killing things over and over again.
Or maybe they're not going to fix it, and they're just saying, if you want the high scores, you need to.
That would suck. Because look at these scores. Like they're
so I'm wondering if
300,000,
they're basing them off of this
400,000.
stuff. They have to know that these people are exploiting Nightfalls.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
So
It's just like we'll send 2 people into a lost sector and 1 person just keep going through the Nightfall.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for that. There's one last thing I want to mention here. They talk about this new thing called the Prismatic Matrix. They're revamping the Eververse system. I'm not going to go through specifics on it, but you can read all about this. They're changing the way Eververse works. They say they wanted to make a more clear path to progression. Let me tell you, I read this like 3 times. It is so complicated, and I don't know why. They're like, oh, it's going to reduce your duplication. You're going to be able to do this and that. And you get this, what do they call it? A well-rested level up each week and a prismatic facet. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Let me make this simple for you guys. This is very, very simple. You put the stuff in a shop and you say, this costs X amount of silver. This costs X amount of silver. Buy what you want. Enough of the RNG. You know, people are sick of loot boxes. I don't care about this so much. I don't care about any of the loot in here. I'm not even mad about the stuff because I don't really want it. But if people want to buy something with real money that's cosmetic, just let them buy it directly. That's it. You know?
Yeah, this is the alternative to both pleasing the players who say all of this stuff is on every single one of these 10, let's say, are on a lockout. So anything that's going to be delivered, it will be already on a lockout, which makes me wonder why they're doing ships and why are they doing ship sparrows emotes? Like, I know emotes are on a lockout, but why ship sparrows and ghost shells? Why is that still a thing? I thought didn't they say that they wouldn't have the shells, sparrows?
Well, they said they added some to the regular game. So they said We addressed this by adding vanity rewards to Crucible, Nightfall, Strike, and raid activities, but I guess they're keeping separate ones in here still.
No, hold on. Where's the season? Where's the Eververse graph where they showed, or the season graph where they showed what content will be available to what players?
They said that the Eververse would be available for elective purchase. That was the part of the graph that it was in like 2 or 3 weeks ago's TWAB, or not TWAB. It was in like a different post, a different blog post.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's it's not a road. It wasn't the roadmap one, was it?
No. It might have been under the roadmap, actually. I don't know. But I know what you're talking about. I just think, honestly, not just Bungie or Destiny related, but people are sick of loot boxes. They're becoming illegal in Belgium, and a lot of other places are sick of it. Just get ahead of the curve, guys, and make this a straight-up cash shop where you can buy what you want for a fixed amount of money. Stop trying to milk the cow for all of the time you can. Just be a leader on this, Yeah.
One way to do it, right? If they wanted to really make like the player base more appealed to Eververse, right? Look at games in the past, right? Before loot boxes were a thing. I've recently gone back and I bought Rainbow Six, right? So everything for any character, cosmetic or whatever else, like you can purchase that with real money if you want to, right? Mm-hmm. It's not hidden or anything else like that. Or
EA does this as well.
Yeah, if you don't want to actually spend your real money on said item, you can still play the game, like a lot of grinding, but you'll eventually get enough, currency within that game to purchase that.
To their credit, they have like a way you can earn this in the game and stuff like that without having to spend money, but I just wish that it was more straight up and transparent how you get this stuff by just having a 1-to-1 ratio. And I think that this is a classic example of Bungie trying to outsmart the problem once again, rather than just going for the obvious solution. And,
I'm worried that they didn't change the Eververse at all.
Mm-hmm. They've made it worse. Yeah.
And because the ghost shells, the ships, and the sparrows seem to still be in Tessa's inventory.
What else would they sell? What else would they sell? Just emotes?
Specifically, what they said they would sell was stuff that's only collection based. So that would be, unless they're moving sparrows and ships and ghost shells to collection based.
I think that they are probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly, right? What they should do is, like, if they bring out an exotic ship, say, for instance, right, you should have every potential to earn that ship with their bright engram, which is their in-game currency that we all strive to earn because loot boxes are so important, right? But if they want to stop people from purchasing the item when they release it, right, so lock it down for maybe 3 months, right? So here's a new ship, you can get it from this, so that that people that have got it over a 3-month period have actually played the game and have been lucky enough to get the role to get that ship. After that, it's like people like, I really want this ship. I'm sick of fucking grinding for it. Just let me buy it. Like, that would be how they should approach it, as opposed to, just dropping a new ship and saying you can buy it for this or you can just play the game. Like, I don't think they should release the ability to purchase it straight up. So, you've still got
that's
that
the whole point
of
of the cash shop, of the microtransactions. They want to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, not to make this sound sinister or anything. It really...
Yeah, they do.
They want extra funding for the game to support the live team and stuff, which I understand. But I just wish that it was a transparent transaction where exactly what you're getting for the money you're putting in.
Pashke makes a good point. He says they want challenge-based cosmetics like ships and emotes and things like that. But I remember seeing back a couple of weeks ago where they showed what Eververse was actually going to have, and they were very clear on Eververse not having anything that all of the other loot that she sold would be dispersed among all the other engrams in the world, and she would only sell stuff that's collection-based. Now we get this thing where it doesn't look that way.
I found it, Exo. It is in the roadmap post 4/11/2018. It says Eververse selectively purchased or earned. It says customization items, whatever that means, boons and emotes. updated on April 16th, 2018. Crucible maps included in. Oh, that's just about being able to play Crucible maps. Never mind. Yeah. But yeah, that's all it says about the Eververse. It's very vague wording. Customization items, that could be anything.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. It's this right here is what he's talking about. And it says electively purchase or earn customization items, boons, and emotes.
Yeah.
So customization items would be, well, that emblem, we can take a look and we can see for ourselves. That customization emblem, I believe, is...
But they worded it vaguely on purpose so they can include whatever they want in there, right? I mean, it's not going to be... It's going to be...
But it's not a customization item to have something that's not in a... I'm going to the tower right now because I'm pretty sure that emblem they use for the ornaments.
Okay.
This emblem right here, this
yeah, the
circle,
plus sign thing.
Plus sign circle thing they use for emotes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for emotes, but they use that for
ornaments.
Ornaments. I'm almost positive they use it for ornaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's fine, but like they would have just said ornaments if they meant only ornaments, you know. They said customization
Yeah, but
items.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to expand the collection based stuff into other things, but if they're not doing that, then what's changing about the Eververse?
They're just making it more complicated. That's all that's happening. Like they're making it's weird because they're like trying to say, "Oh, we're fixing it and making it more player friendly," but all they're doing is hiding the information behind even more systems that people don't understand. And it just seems fishy to me. I don't know how much money is tied to this. Obviously a lot if they're like not willing to just straight up change it, you know, to what it should be. But they have to get ahead of the curve.
That is the exact emblem that they used for the ornaments.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a little misleading.
Yeah, so this emblem right here matches the emblem that we get on that. Yeah, so I don't know. That's very misleading.
So guys, if you have any questions, throw them in chat now. We'll try and get to as many of them as we can. And we're gonna be wrapping up.
They did
soon
say
here.
what was it they said when they were first talking about the customization items to begin with?
They said they want to put more in game, basically. From what I remember, they want to put more in game that are not tied to the Eververse store, which they're saying, "Oh, we already did that. We gave you these Nightfall exclusive ghosts that nobody wanted." You know, like, I mean, basically that's what they're saying now. I don't care about this cosmetic stuff. I really don't. It's fine to me that it's behind a paywall. Again, just make it so people know what they're paying for. That's all I'm asking. Because right now
they are 200 silver a piece. We'll unlock one of the things that's in a rolling.
Yeah, but like if you say I want this ornament, I should just be able to buy that ornament straight up, not like, you know, anything else. That's all.
Oh, they just released the Sunshot.
Oh, really?
Thing.
I want to take a look at that right now. Hey, guys, we are, if you didn't know, the only podcast out there with computers. Confirmed. So we're going to go ahead
This is the Sunshot. They just released it.
I'm going to play it on stream for you guys. Let me find it here. Bungie. Is it on Bungie.net or is it on Twitter?
It's on the Twitter.
On the Bungie Twitter?
So right now we just have, we have 13 seconds of... What the heck? That's a joke.
Let me see it. Hold on. Don't spoil it. I'm on the Bungie Twitter, and I don't see it on the Bungie Twitter. Is it on somebody else's Twitter?
I didn't see it either.
Is it on John Wise Newskis?
No, I clicked on the. I'm sorry, I clicked on the link. Yeah, I just got.
Oh, you got clickbaited. It's not really shown.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That was funny. Basically,
Debated.
It was basically someone walking down, and he's like, he walks along and he shoots it like this.
Rick roll, and then it turns into a Rick roll.
No, it wasn't a Rick roll, but that would have been funny too.
All right. Well, I'm not getting any questions. Are you?
That's funny. Pashki says he'd like to be able to do redo prophecies, farming 3 weeks. I don't know where my Jack Queen King went. I'd like to be able to redo them.
Well, you can get it in a randomly rolled Mercury.
Yeah, you can get it randomly anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Actually, because I just got one of the lost prophecies from Cade, of all things.
Yeah, as long as you've obtained it once, you can get it again, but it's just random. So I get what he's saying. You should be able to reobtain it if you've deleted it. That kind of sucks. But...
Yeah. Oh, how about being able to buy the guns that you obtained and dismantled from the gunsmith?
Or just item collections. Hopefully it's part of the gear collections when we get there.
Just gear collections, item collections. That's where we should be. Like blues and purples. The big problem with purples is once you dismantle it, you have to earn it again, and a lot of it takes years.
And you don't have the vault space to keep it all. I don't know about years. We haven't even been playing for a year, but
I mean, you know what I mean. It takes so much gameplay to get back to where.
Yeah, they could do a similar thing to what they did with the exotics in D1, right? So you actually have to go to the hole in the wall, so to speak, and repurchase that item that you've already found, right? That would be a cool concept that they could potentially look to develop, right? So rather than go to your vault, just put in another one, just for basically the purple weapons that you had. Make it fairly costly. Because you don't want to just reward people very easily just for deleting a weapon and then being able to go back and purchase it again. But because in D1 you couldn't actually do that with the legendary weapons because you had like different roles, you had different stats all across the board. Whereas now like everything is you get that weapon and it's exactly the same as what everybody else has. So it's basically like the exotics from D1. So why not just have the ability to just repurchase that item? So Hexblitz
asks, how much competitive playlist grinding will you guys be doing now over quick play? And I would say, I think it's probably going to be pretty balanced, Hex. I think I'm going to do a lot of competitive, but you're still going to have to earn the Valor to be able to rank up. So quick play will still be a thing worth doing, you know?
I think for the most part, I'm still gonna play quick play, and I'm only gonna play competitive when I'm in like a kind of like a hardcore 4-team, not like trials, but I mean it's gonna be trials light. I think most of the players who are doing 4-man teams are gonna be in competitive, and I don't think they're gonna be in trials.
Trials, yeah, definitely 100%.
But you're gonna at least grind it till you get the Claymore, right, Exo?
I don't know because I'm not really interested in the Claymore, but I mean
I'm very interested in the Claymore. I think
everybody's gonna have the Claymore by the end of season 3.
Most people.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of Suros and Icebreaker making a return? I know Suros is making a return. I haven't seen anything about Icebreaker.
Yeah.
No, we actually have all the exotics that are listed from the expansion, and the Icebreaker is not one of them.
Yeah.
The 2 guns we're getting is the Suros Regime and the Huckleberry, which is an SMG.
Yeah.
And then
if you don't want spoilers, do not look at the armor.
Do you think there's any chance that there's a hidden raid exotic like the Acreus? There wasn't one for Eater of Worlds, but they may have had.
Oh, because we didn't know the Acreus even existed, right?
Right.
We didn't even know.
Yeah, it could be hidden in the database.
It could be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be an exotic like that we've already had in D1 though.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They'll bring.
I like that they're making newer exotics too. Yeah, I was okay with them bringing a few exotics across from D1.
Sleeper Simulant's coming back. That was in the pictures. You could see that.
I thought that was actually a shotgun though, not a fusion rifle.
No,
we thought it was a Sleeper Stimulant.
No, if you look closely in the still shot of it, the guy in the background, it's the exact same frame as the Sleeper Simulant with the clip and everything. It's not the shotgun. It's not the same as the shotgun.
Interesting.
I feel D2 severely lacks depth in all departments, but Bungie doesn't think its player base can handle it. What do you guys think would be too much depth or not enough? I don't think it's possible for them to do too much depth. Honestly, they're so far away from that I wouldn't even have that as a concern at all. Not on my radar. But I would say Bungie has changed their philosophy when they shipped D2. They were obviously, targeting a certain player demographic of a super casual player. And from what they've said at the summit to our community leaders and stuff like that, they've shifted on that. They want to reward player investment and make Destiny a hobby again. So,
well, that's what it is, right? For me personally, right? Like I'm a casual gamer, right? So like I work full time. I travel 25 to 30 hours a week to get to and from work. So, I don't have a lot of time to play video games, right? With D1 at its end game, like, it was just basically going into the Crucible, having fun with friends, private matches, all the fun stuff. Like, we would have little tournaments within our clan and stuff like that, which is cool. I think private matches is going to bring that back, the ability to hold or host tournaments, which is great. But for me, like I class myself as a casual player for Destiny 2. It's terrible. Like, like it's not even rewarding for me. Like, I want to come back and play a lot of this game, because literally, like, I stopped playing Horizon Zero Dawn to come back to Destiny because that's where my friends were. Like, I kept playing Destiny because my friends were always there. They were always online. They were always playing. Now it's kind of like, oh, what are you playing? It's just like, oh, I'm playing Siege, or, I'm playing Sea of Thieves, or I'm playing God of War, or I'm playing something else now. It's kind of like, I want to play Destiny. And everyone's like, yeah, well, we're not really on at the moment. So, they need to make that shift to bring everybody back to Destiny and have that as the main core game. And if they can do it right, it's going to be amazing. But the end game needs to be like the competitive focus. It always should be. That's what it was in D1 with Trials. That was the competitive nature of it. People want evolution now with the second one. They haven't had that evolution with the competitive side of things, which is what they're trying to do now, which I think is in the right direction.
I think, coming from a PvE side of it, though, I think right now, what they're like, it wasn't really like, oh, we don't want to put too much into the competitive, we don't want to put too much into the PvE side of it, but I think a lot of their actual efforts, like Reck was saying, was it's courting a new audience. That's what Destiny 2 was initially about. They wanted it to become more accessible, by turning everything down to 4v4, like 100% of the match types down to 4v4, which in the end, when your hardcore is playing it 6 months later, is a mistake.
Well, 4v4 was to make it more competitive, which was like at odds with the rest of their philosophy, because like most of the competitive community was asking for 4v4. 6v6 is a little more casual.
What would have been probably a better,
but I'm talking about PvE more so than PvP in this discussion.
100%. So they should have been able to enable, like, if you're playing through PvE or story missions or anything like that, have the ability to have a 4-man team. Maybe increase Trials to 4-man as well, but still with the regular Crucible, still keep that 6v6. I think that was the most pinnacle part of D1, was there was so much chaos all the time, and that's what made the game. Now they've made like a quick play competitive. Like, quick play should be like, like Mayhem or whatever else like that, where you go in, bunch of mates, stack up with 6 people, chaos on every corner, and you go in to have fun.
I think that might be their concession that they made with the competitive thing, but they said that we want to make this accessible. We want to make this as accessible as we possibly can. But what we've done for the competitive is we've kept all the playlists 4v4, so that they don't feel like so that they can still feel some competition. And I think that was the trade-off there. It wasn't like a breach of philosophy. It was like, we have to give something to the competitive community, and we're going to give them 4v4 and all
everything.
I wasn't even talking about PvP really at all. The philosophy I was talking about was with PvE. You get exotics super easy. Everything in the game is handed to you. There's no progression. You get to max level just by breathing. That is the dumbing down of the game and making it so easy to where a toddler could play through the campaign, honestly, is the mistake that they made. And I think what they realized is they thought they were trying to be more casual friendly, but they were targeting a group of players that does not exist. Because people who are casual players, it just means they don't have a lot of time to play the game. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be challenged. It doesn't mean that they have no interest in interesting gameplay, that they want everything handed to them. You know, they still want to strive for stuff and feel rewarded too for their time. They don't want to just log in and have everything handed to them. So I think that was something that had to change, and hopefully they're taking the game in the right direction on that.
Yeah, like who seriously wants to knock Gaul through all 3 phases with Celestial and a tether?
That's fun though. Like, that's fun when you can do that.
It's fun to do, but I mean, like that's pretty easy.
I think these days, these days there are certain games out there, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, that have proven that not only can you make a casual really enjoy a game that's really difficult, but you can also make a really difficult game really rewarding as well. And there's a lot of lessons that's in modern game design that didn't exist when they created Destiny 2, because Destiny 2 they created in a flash ban. If we're to be believed that they did it in 16 months, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 16 to 18 months.
Yeah,
even though they delayed it by over a year from when it was supposed to come out, so like it just doesn't make any sense. 11th hour reboots.
They started down a path and then they scrapped the original project and started again,
just like they did with Destiny 1, which was a huge mistake, which led to a bad launch and everything else.
At this point, does Bungie, so like Activision should be like, so we should just add on a year and you'll scrap your part, and then, like, it'll be like they'll just like
just part of the
Activision
routine.
should just expect this from them now at this point.
All right. I think that's probably good for this week, guys. We can probably call it there. Thank you for coming on, Z. It was great having you as a guest.
It's a pleasure.
Yep. It's always good to get we have a lot of people from all over the world coming on this podcast. I'm trying to line up some guests for the coming weeks, guys. Hopefully we can keep the guest thing rolling. I hope Huffy's all right. Haven't heard anything from him. Anyway, we're going to do our sign-offs now. This has been the 14th episode of GuardianCast. I'm Recked. You can find me at twitch.tv/Reckdum, RECKED_UM. You can find me on Twitter at Reckdum, RECKEDUM.
I'm ExoFury. You can find me at Twitch, Twitter is ExoFury on Twitch, EXOFURI. You can find me there as ExoFury on Twitch, or you can find me on Twitch as ExoFury on Twitch.
Cool. You want me to do a thing too?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Z. Everyone calls me Z. My handle is actually zee37tee, so ZEE37tee. That's on all platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Caffeine TV, Instagram. Also have a small Facebook page, which is zee37tee with a capital Z, so ZEE37tee.
All right. Bye, guys.
Peace out, guys.